Hi, my name is Rebecca, and today I will be presenting the mathematics program I created for a Year 2 class studying measurement, more specifically, the substream relating to using a calculator to identify the date and determine the number of days in each month. To develop this program, I first thought about what the use of the program would be. From here, I decided to make up Miss Bloom's Year 2 classroom, who had just completed their midway test on this topic, and unfortunately, the data collected shows that many students still aren't fully understanding the concept. As you can see from the data, there are quite a few students in each box, but the highlighted students are the ones who struggled across all three aspects, and these students will make up my target group. This target group will require differentiated instruction and will need extra support. The learning outcomes I aim to achieve have come from the ACARA and SCARSA learning outcomes. That is, use a calendar to identify the date and determine the number of days in each month. I have also explored the elaboration of this outcome, which is using calendars to locate specific information, such as finding a given date on a calendar and saying what day it is, and identifying personally or culturally specific days. The strategies I will use to successfully teach this concept are beginning each lesson with an introduction and an overall idea of what the lesson will entail, ensuring that there are hands-on and tactile resources such as real calendars, printouts of real months of the year, rather than just having these projected onto the whiteboard. I will also ensure there are differentiated strategies and work in order for students to meet the specific outcomes and content listed above. I will use my knowledge of the different learners and differing abilities, as it is important in order to ensure that each student's needs and learning style is being catered to. Use of personal pedagogy is a mix of group work, individual work, discussion, workbooks, and hands-on activities. I will also use appropriate discipline and behaviour management techniques in order to keep the class on track and focused. I have made sure that the assessment tasks are both formal and informal. I wanted to use assessment for, of, and as learning. For formative/informal assessment, I will use worksheets, bookworks, class discussions, feedback-orientated, ungraded, and dialogue-based assessment. For the summative/formal assessment, I will use a formal end-of-program test evaluating the student's understanding, and this assessment will be marked. For Lesson 1, I have set the objective for students to understand the days of the week, understanding that a week has a specific structure and follows the same pattern every week. Lesson 2 has built up upon Lesson 1, and I have set the objective for students to understand that 24 hours equals 1 day, 7 days equals 1 week, 2 weeks equals a fortnight, 2 fortnights equals 1 month, 12 months equal 1 year, and 1 year equals 365 or 366 days. By the end of Lesson 3, students should understand how to read a calendar in order to retrieve information from it. Students should also be able to answer questions about the months of the year using their stored knowledge and the 30 days song. For Lesson 4, I have set the objective for students to understand how to read a calendar and extract information from it in order to work out when special celebrations and public holidays are. For Lesson 5, I have set the objective for students to use this lesson for revision. Students should have developed a good understanding of how to use a calendar and be able to complete the worksheet unguided. If not, students need to ask questions in order to understand the topic. The assessment for Lessons 1 to 5 will be formative, informal assessment and will be used as a way to keep track of students' progress. The reason for using informal assessment is to make sure students have a chance to understand the concepts being taught without having a grade riding on the concepts that they are struggling with. Students have only just begun to be reintroduced to this topic, after evidence showed that lots were struggling, so there is no point testing them again as we will get the same data. Progress notes will be taken in the form of anecdotal notes, and students' workbooks and worksheets will be marked and kept and looked back on in order to watch students' progress. There will be lots of feedback available to students and lots of discussions in order for students to voice any misunderstanding or points of confusion. For Lesson 6, students will complete the end-of-program test and should have an understanding of the different questions asked. Summative and formal assessment will be used in Lesson 6. This is our final lesson on the topic and students will undertake a test. This is an end-of-topic test and will be graded. It will evaluate students' understanding in a formal test condition setting. Overall, the research and understanding I have gained from creating a differentiated mathematics program has been invaluable. This type of differentiated practice fits in well with my teaching philosophy of treating all students equitably, as well as ensuring that tasks are diverse. Unfortunately, I did find it hard to move away from worksheets for most of the lessons, but I did try to mix up the activities and slowly build upon the objectives covered the previous day. Thank you for listening to my presentation, and I hope that you have been able to take something away with you.